What's up, guys? Mike Lewis here, and welcome to the Mike Lewis podcast. If you guys want to keep up with me on social media, you can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lewis Official, and you can follow me on Twitter at MikeLew52. It's where most of my updates come. If you're enjoying my content, give me a like and a subscribe. And without further ado, let's just dive right into this episode. All right, what's up, Shane? How you doing?
Not too much, man. Pretty good.
Hanging in there. How's this past year? How's this past year been for you?
It's been busy for sure. You know.
What do you do these days?
I'm still a hairdresser. Been doing hair about 11, going on 12 years. So.
Oh wow.
Still doing that.
So you're still doing that when you're on the show, then?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow. How bad did that get affected? When everything first started with the shutdowns and everything? Were you guys
actually everybody still wanted their hair done during COVID, but I didn't risk it, so it just wasn't worth it. I had my mom staying with me at the time, so I couldn't do it. But as soon as we got back, dude, it was busier than ever. It still is, really.
Oh wow! So how long were you out of it before going back?
I think it was about 2 months, 3 months.
Oh, 2 months. That's not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
So these days, if you ever, let's just say you run into someone on the street who recognizes you from the show, is that something that's weird for you these days? Would you intentionally want to leave your past on the show behind you, or are you open to
No, not at all. When I see people that recognize me, it's actually pretty cool. No, I love it. They want to take a picture or whatever, I'll do that, and it makes you feel good.
Has that happened a lot to you, since being on TV? Do people recognize you in public?
I mean, of course, right after airing it, it happens all the time every time you go out. But more recently, it slowed down. It's been a couple of years. So here in Louisiana, you get it a little bit when you go out. But going to bigger cities in Austin, New York, LA, or something, you get it a lot more. But yeah, I love that. I love that stuff.
Was that a goal of yours to get onto TV, or was that not in your rear view?
I mean, growing up, yeah, always wanted to be on TV, but never thought I'd actually do it until my brother auditioned for the real world, and the rest was history from there.
You didn't try out, did you?
No.
Ah, so it was just his, and then you came. Were you brought in? Because I remember watching his Real World, and you were obviously made appearances. You weren't one of the skeletons though, right? You were just.
No, I just went as a visitor. So my brother got casted, and which blew my mind because he never really talked about it. His friend actually auditioned, and he was in his friend's audition video. So they told him make one or whatever. They might put them both on, but they ended up just doing Tony. So when he told me, I was like, well, hell yeah, I definitely got to get on there with you. If you're going on TV, I got to make a little appearance. So I went on as just a little guest for a week.
Are you the younger of the two?
Yeah, I'm 3 years younger.
So how close were you and Tony growing up?
Wow, super close. That's my only sibling. He's my only brother, so
yeah,
that's all I had.
Was that weird when you first got there with the cameras and everything? Because I heard they film everything at every time.
Oh, and, God, yeah. The minute I stepped out the taxi, I was just like, all right, what do I do? Where do I go? He's like, all right, well, just go inside. Your brother's waiting for you. And I was like, all right, well, what do I say? He was like, just walk in there, say what you want. And I was like, really? So I went into it thinking it was kind of scripted or something, or they give me a little direction or something. But he gave me nothing. He was like, just go get mic'd up and walk on in. And I was super nervous, freaking out. But the minute I saw my brother, I was like, all right, let's go. It was cool.
How long did it take you to get adjusted to that? Because you ended up doing obviously 2 shows after that. Did it set in your second show? Maybe did it take you to your third before it started feeling natural?
Honestly, about 15 minutes in on Real World, it became normal. So the only rule they give you is just don't pay attention to the cameras. Just act like they're not there. Don't talk to the cameraman, whatever. So honestly, that was the only thing. 15 minutes after that, they're there in the back of your head, so you can't say or do anything crazy or stupid, but you just almost forget they're there in a way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
it doesn't take long.
Did you keep up with Bruno's brother after that show?
Yeah, we kept in touch a couple of months actually. I think it was about 6 months We talked for
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Nothing serious, though?
Not too serious. I mean, he lived in New York. I lived in Louisiana, so it was very long distance. I tried flying out there once. He flew down here once, but it just ended up getting too complicated. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm curious, though,
so,
because it kind of felt like with, obviously you making appearance on Real World, Bruno's brother, it kind of felt like a Bloodline season was almost like destined to happen until it
yeah,
actually did.
exactly.
I'm like kind of curious because I obviously know like from speaking with past people what the process is like for say like a Real World or an Ari the One. But what was maybe like the process for you with like Bloodlines? Did they like have you go through like a series of like questions like how they would normally do with somebody auditioning, or is it more straightforward because you already appeared on the Real World with Tony?
I don't think it was any different because I was a guest on Real World, but like I still had to do the whole psych interview. I still had to do all that, get all my shots and stuff. The hardest part was the psych interview. It was like 250 questions or something crazy. So, and that made you super nervous because they ask you questions like, do you drink, how often, and all this. And it's like, have you ever thought of harming yourself? They have the weirdest questions. So it's like, all right, well, like if you drink once a week, whatever, on a Saturday night, does that mean you're not qualified or something? So, it was a lot. It was a lot of questions, and you're locked in a room by yourself. So you're like, damn, overanalyzing it, overthinking everything, and you get tired because it's like back in school, And but other than that, it was super easy getting on and stuff.
Yeah, like I heard from one of my like past episodes, like when they do that process about the psych eval, like they'll like ask the same question at least like multiple different times, but just like worded a certain way
Yeah, in a
or
different
a
way,
different.
exactly. That's exactly how it goes.
I heard Bananas like took a picture of the first time he's ever taken the test, and then so every time he takes it before a season, like he'll just write the same exact answers, so he doesn't like have
Really?
to fill the whole thing out again.
Yeah, dude, that's the worst part, honestly.
Yeah. So it was like a pretty straightforward thing for you. Like, obviously, when they're bringing people in, they want to make sure like they're not like too crazy, I guess is what that
Yeah,
type
I think it's mainly you just have a strong enough mind to handle reality TV, and the more of like the after effects of it, and being in a house with 29 other people, and making sure you're not going to hurt nobody, I guess. So
Yeah.
I think it's pretty important.
No, I gotta ask you because this is like referred to as like one of like the more like iconic moments. What was
Okay.
the what was the deal with you and Tony when you guys got into that little scuffle? Do you guys like look back at that now and like laugh at it, or is it something that like you kind of like look back with a skewed view of?
I mean, it wasn't my proudest moment, but if I can go back and fix it, yeah, I would have just like minded my business and not even got into it. But my thought behind the whole thing was just like, all right, we're here. It's the first night. Don't start nothing too serious. Don't start fires with people already. It's night one, and you don't need people like gunning for you already. I'm trying to make it to the end. So I'm like, all right. But I guess he got a little too lit, whatever. But like I said, I should have backed off. I should just let him do his thing and trusted him because I believed everybody else in the house, and I should have just went with him. But hey, it happened. I don't regret it. But
How much of that
was my
fight do you
promise.
remember?
Oh, I remember it all. Oh yeah, I
Really?
remember everything. Yeah, it feels like it was yesterday, honestly.
Wow. Yeah, my like favorite part of that entire scene is like when he's telling you to walk a straight line. You're like, you you were like, I'll vogue that shit.
Yeah. A lot of people gave me stuff for that one.
Did they like the producers give you like any warning, or did they like threaten to kick you guys off? Because I found it like so like kind of puzzling. I was like, well, these two people just like kind of. I mean, I know they're family members, so maybe it's different. Is that maybe what it
I
was? Like,
think that's honestly that's what saved us. I think if it wasn't my brother, we probably would have gotten sent home. But they gave us a warning. He's like, well, at the first challenge, TJ was like, Tony and Shane, I heard y'all got into a scuffle last night. Da da da. Here at the challenge, we don't promote violence. So with that said, just we're gonna give you a warning. Don't let it happen again. So we got very, very, very lucky on that one.
yeah, I mean, recently, like with like the current challenges that go on, like physical contact has been like brought to the forefront with like what warrants something. Like we had just someone get kicked off in this past season for like a face mush, So like I want to ask you from like a third person perspective, say if like you didn't know who you were, right? And you just saw you and Tony's thing from an outside's perspective. Would you say that that would have warranted like being kicked off?
I mean, yeah, if I put myself out of the situation, it was someone else. Honestly, looking at it, watching it, you think of it as a viewer, and you're like, you're hoping they don't get sent home. And like I said, if it was someone else, then maybe, or because it did get pretty serious. But that is my brother. We grew up, fighting and roughing around. So we made up like 10 minutes after. He come tell me he loved me and he's sorry. I'm sorry. So he squashed it like immediately. So I think if it was anyone else, then yeah, I would think they'd hopefully, if it was their brother or sister or whatever, they'd stay.
How bummed out were you guys or you in particular, like that you guys had to leave early because of injury?
That was the worst part. At first, I didn't know how serious it was. I thought he just fell in the water and bruised himself or something. But the producers kept telling me he was dehydrated. So I was like, all right, we're fine. But come to find out, he ruptured his spleen and it was pretty bad. So yeah, that was the worst part of the whole season for me. Honestly, I was hoping, like, once I realized he had his surgery, he was fine, or he was going to make it, I was hoping they could bring, like, Madison or someone at that time, like, or another sibling or cousin or something for me. So, yeah, I really wanted to do that season really bad. Really, really
Yeah.
good.
I think you guys would have stood a chance to like make a final at least at the
Yeah,
very
honestly, that's probably the only season that I personally had a chance of making to a final. I look back at it, it's like it was a pretty easy season compared to like most of them. So yeah,
yeah,
it's
like
pretty bad.
Dirty 30. I mean, you were going into that thing that had like a bunch of heavy hitters on that one. You know what I
True.
mean?
Dirty 30 was crucial. The first challenge was like a 3-part challenge, and it almost killed me. So that was very tough. But like I said, Bloodlines, the first challenge was super easy, honestly. Like it was just like stuff you do back home, like running up a dirt hill, and filling up a bucket with water. I mean, it wasn't nothing. It was harder than it looks, but it wasn't hard. We could have made it
Yeah.
to the end for sure.
Yeah, I know that rubbed like a lot of people the wrong way from throwing a purge right in the beginning of Dirty 30 and like kicking out like 6 people. Because think about it, like so many people that like could have provided something like in the main house didn't get that opportunity because of a purge like right off the bat. Like we didn't get to
Right,
see you,
exactly.
a man. Yeah, like so many people. Like that would have been like fun to see. It just kind of felt like on both your seasons you kind of got like
The shit
I don't
end
want
of
to.
the stick,
Yeah, the
man.
shit end of the stick. Yeah.
Definitely the second season, my second season, Dirty 30, really, really was hard. And yeah, I definitely got the worst for that. But Bloodlines, we couldn't help it, of course. But yeah, Dirty 30 was bad, really bad. And then they didn't show this, or I guess no one knew this, but they fed us right before. So we had like so much food and we didn't know what we were doing. It was the first challenge. So I'm thinking it's going to be not easy, but it wasn't going to be the hardest thing. So I'm sitting there eating like, I think they had like pork chops and they had so much food. So we're just eating and it's super hot out there. So we're just laying and I think we waited for like 2-3 hours before we even got started. So we're sitting there in the sun and it's super, super hot. And then they tell us we had a 3-part challenge and it was like a purge. And I'm like, God, man, I should have ate so much. But yeah, that was tough. That was very tough.
Yeah, I think like some people were like hung over during that challenge because like they had a long plane ride there. They didn't know they were gonna have a
Oh,
purge.
yeah, not to mention, yeah, we just landed the night before. So yeah, it was very tough.
Yeah, yeah. Did you expect to get called back to come back after Bloodlines, or were you kind of like, oh, whatever, like they're probably not gonna want
Honestly,
me?
no. I mean, I was hoping so, but I didn't expect it by no means. But after that, I was season 27, so they had two
Yeah.
more seasons I didn't make, and then they called me for that one. But just because the theme was Dirty 30, it was supposed to be like the 30 of the most dirty players ever. So I'm like, there's no shot for me. But yeah, it was awesome making that one.
You got called for the 2 seasons before that, though, right?
Yeah, I got a call, and I was a backup, but never made it on.
So did you walk into Dirty 30 like with all those heavy hitters, thinking like, oh, like this is gonna be a long one?
Yeah, honestly, I thought I didn't stand a chance, but I was hoping since my brother was there, he can kind of help me out and get me a little further, but didn't happen that way.
Hmm. Now, I want to obviously talk about the situation since, we're 4.5 years removed from it, of course. So I think maybe we can look on it with a different perspective.
Right.
How do you feel like at this very moment, like when I just mentioned you right now about that Simone situation, like what's like the first thing that maybe comes to mind when you hear about it?
Sure. I mean, I don't like it. That's for sure. It messed up my second chance, and I haven't been called back since. That's the worst part. So it's like, damn, I really let that one mess me up.
Could you maybe walk me through, like, from maybe your perspective, like what you remember about that situation?
So earlier that day, or that night, I should say, Simone was asking Toya to grease her scalp. So I was like, well, I wasn't in the room for it. So when I came in the room with Toya, me and Toya were roommates. So I went in the room, talked to her about it, and she said, yeah, Simone just asked me to grease her scalp. And I was like, wait, what? I said, what'd you tell her? She said, no. I said, hell no, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, man, I don't know what I'd tell her if she asked me. I said, I'd probably tell her hell no either. And then she come and, of course, asked me, and I was like, no, girl. Which, I mean, maybe I should have just put the little hair lotion in her hair or whatever. But honestly, it's something you could do yourself. You just rub some oil in your hair. But, so I think since then, she just felt a little salty about it. But she was out there talking to everybody about it. And me and Toy were in the room just chilling. And I was actually sick that night. So I was just inside with Toya and laying in the room. Well, I went out there to kind of like sneak a peek and see what they were talking about because I heard them talking about us. And yeah, we walk out there and we start talking about it. And then actually the cameras left for about a good hour. So we're all upstairs and sitting in a little terrace area and talking about everything, talking about all kind of stuff. And it got a little political and whatever. So I just didn't say much. Well, it got to one little thing and I mentioned what I had to say and she just had a reaction. And I was just like, I hated what she said. And I was just like, that's the problem in the world right there. Da, da, da. I said, why can't you just let everyone be a part of every community because we're all human and people and whatever. But she didn't like that. So she's like, well, you don't have any say. You're this, you're that. So I was like, I called her a dumb bitch. And after that, which I shouldn't have done, but after that, she like, face bumped me, whatever, and like started clawing my face. So I just held her down, and as I'm holding her down, I'm hoping somebody's gonna grab her and pull her away, or let me go get out. But Devin ends up putting me in a chokehold, and I couldn't breathe. So I just started I bit his hand to let me go, and I got him and walked away.
So she, put her hands on you first, and then, or at least you thought she was going to, and that's what kind
Well,
of.
no, she did. So when I was like, man, you're a dumb bitch, whatever. She as I was like pointing at her, she went like this and just like face clawed me, whatever. And as she's like swinging and scratching and stuff, I'm just like, whoa, whoa. And I'm like, I grabbed her and I held her down to like kind of stop her. And Devin was like behind me, so I guess he didn't know what was going on. So he just like come up and just put me in a chokehold. But yeah, the whole thing was stupid, man. Like I said, if I can go back, I would definitely just walk away from the beginning.
Do you feel like that narrative got like misconstrued a little bit to like make
Absolutely.
it seem like you did worse than what happened?
Absolutely. I think with the cameras not being there, there's like a big gap missing, so it goes from, hey, grease my scalp, no, to my face all cut up and her all hyped and mad and security coming in and stuff. So it's like everybody's missing that big fight, and what actually happened, and everybody had something different to say. So it's like on the episode, Simone says I slapped her in the face, like on the left side of her cheek. And then at the reunion, she said I like slapped her, pulled her hair, and punched her. So I'm like, all right, how do you take it from that to this? Which I never slapped the girl. I never put my hands on her like that at all. I held her to hold her down to stop from scratching me. Once I felt her nails going to my face, I was just like, I mean, I had to do something, I had to hold her down. So I was hoping somebody would just pull her away, but they didn't.
Was there a lot of alcohol involved? Did you think maybe if like there wasn't any there, that the situation could have been resolved in a fashion, maybe? Or
On my part, no, because like I said, I was sick that night, so I wasn't really drinking. But they had been out there taking shots the whole time. So yeah, I think it would have been a lot different if that wasn't involved. But I think something was coming, something was brewing between us. Like I think she just didn't like me, and I thought she was super annoying. So I could obviously I could have just like ignored the girl, but I sat outside for 30 minutes listening to them talk, and then I finally had something to say, and she just wasn't having it. So
Did you think that it was building? Like, how was the dynamic in the house with all you guys, like, prior to that, like the days leading up to it?
so Simone's just like a big personality, and so am I. So it's like she talks a lot. She likes to be the big head honcho girl in the house. So I guess she didn't like how, I'm the same way. I want to make everybody laugh, have a good time, and cut up. But she just took it too far, I think. If she, like I said, I wish it never happened, and yeah, it was the worst.
How uncomfortable maybe did you feel like heading into that reunion? Like, did it feel like the cast like had like already painted a picture of what happened, and kind of did you feel shafted in a way?
100%. Two people there actually said, Shang, just own what you did and apologize and move forward. I'm like, own what, dude? I told you exactly what I did. Like, well, just say you're sorry for hitting her. I said, well, I never hit her. Like, if I hit her, I would say, hey, I'm sorry. But I didn't, so I couldn't apologize for something I didn't do. I'm not going to say I did it if I didn't do it. So, yeah, I think just hearing from them two people, hearing what they had to say or what they thought, I'm sure everybody else thought the same thing. But I just wish everybody could look at her past and see how she is and just fill in the blank right there. But I guess they refer to me in my brother's fight, which, I mean, like I said, that's my brother, so it's totally different. I would never fight with anyone else in the house like that or put my hands on nobody like that. But yeah, I guess I can't take it back now. So
Who maybe was trying to tell you to own up to it? Could you recall?
yeah, I remember it was two guys, but yeah, I can't remember who it was.
So you mentioned about not being called after that. Do you feel like you're blacklisted at all, or was anything said to you?
No. After that, they just sent us home, and I was upset about that. But I just wish somebody in there could have like really saw what happened, or I wish the cameras were still there. If the cameras were still there, I probably would have stayed. But hopefully. But yeah, it sucked. It sucked bad.
So almost
But
in
I
a
didn't
way.
expect them to not. I thought maybe I've heard before you get like a 2-year probation, like you don't make it on for 2 years after that if you get into a fight. But yeah, it's been like what 4 or 5 years now. So
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough, like especially in the current climate. Like if you hear one thing, people don't take the time to listen to the other side. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, exactly.
So with no camera footage, you're hearing the side of one person, and that's pretty much like all you can go off of.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
mean, from the sounds of it, it seems like if there was some camera footage to give us like more conclusive idea of what happened, then maybe we could be having a different discussion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Dude, that's the one thing I wish, and it's crazy because the cameras never stop rolling as long as you're awake. They're rolling 24/7, or they have cameras in the wall or something like that. So it's like, I guess because it was the Redemption House, they let us have a free night, at the end of the week, and they said, all right, well, we're gonna go ahead and give y'all a free night. It was late, so it was like 3, 4 in the morning. So they let us have a few hours to ourselves, which was awesome, but then it ended up not being so awesome,
so do you feel like you were kind of like blacklisted, or?
I mean, I would hope not. I hope they're just super busy and not calling me. But and eventually, honestly, I just became single about a year ago, so I've been working out. I've been eating healthy and getting my everything together. So I'm ready for a call whenever they're ready.
So if given the call, say tomorrow, are you? Would that be a yes for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it seemed like it's almost like you haven't even scratched the surface yet as a competitor. Like we
Yeah,
haven't even really gotten the opportunity to see what you could potentially bring to the table.
That's the worst part. I'm glad you said that. That's the worst part because it's like I didn't know what I was capable of doing it, and I thought once I got there on Bloodlines, I thought I was doing pretty well. And Dirty 30, just from that first challenge, I was like, all right, if I can complete all three of them and not be in last place, then I have a decent shot or something, But there's a lot of challenges that I would have enjoyed doing, but like especially the one my brother got hurt on, the heights over water challenge was awesome. So there's a lot of challenges that's like right up my alley. I grew up in the country and doing all kind of crazy stuff like that. So it's like, man, I really, really would love to see what else I could do.
Yeah. And you had to go on that Dirty 30 like tour that they were doing, right, in New York, like for promotion for the show. Was that
Yeah.
was that after you guys filmed?
Yeah, that was
Wow.
after.
That must have been a little brutal for you then, right? Because having that thing play out and then having to, kind of in essence act in a way because you're trying to promote the show to fans
Yeah.
that haven't obviously seen it yet. Was that tough to navigate at all?
Not really. I mean, you just show up, you have a job to do. So you just show up and get there. Honestly, the toughest part was the workouts over there. So we had a little workout, and Cara Maria actually had to lead one of them, and she killed us. So that was the toughest part. But being around Simone and all that, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, for sure.
Was it tough navigating like the social media aspect, like once the episode and reunion aired, with like maybe stuff people were saying?
Yeah, that was pretty tough. I got a lot of comments saying like white woman beater, like this and that, and you think that it's not going to get to you, but it definitely does. It gets to you a little bit, but you just got to block it out. And I mean, at the end of the day, I know what happened, so it
Yeah,
just sucks everybody else thinks other things.
Yeah, I think my favorite part to cover is kind of like the mental health aspect that comes with reality TV. Like people don't necessarily know how hard it is to navigate that. You live something and then have to relive it when it airs, and then like people are only seeing like a condensed version of what goes on with like say maybe 7,200 hours of footage. They're only seeing like maybe 7 hours of footage. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's into one episode. So how long maybe after that episode aired, like when you were getting those comments, like has it died down now? Like do you still get any? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I rarely ever see a comment like that, but or anything challenge related anymore. But like every once in a while you'll get it. You get a lot of DMs still, but as far as the Simone fight goes, no one ever talks about it no more.
So how close are you with Tony these days? Do you guys still keep up? Was your relationship like better after the show, or?
Yeah, before the show, I mean, me and my brother were living together before Real World, or as he made it on Real World, he was my roommate. So, and then after Madison moved in with us, so that was awesome. But so yeah, after Bloodlines, I mean, I wouldn't say it made us closer, but because we're always close, but it was awesome. It was kind of cool seeing what he went through, and with everything, and kind of so with the whole comment thing and the negative comments. So he got a lot of negative comments from Real World and a couple of his seasons. So I'm always like, brush that stuff off. It's nothing, da da da, because he would get pretty depressed about it. So I'm like, but then that hit me, and I was like, all right, now I understand. Now I see what it's like, because before all that, I just get nothing but positive feedback. So yeah, definitely. I guess it brought us a little closer. Made me understand him a lot more.
Yeah, he had a pretty good arc, I feel like, in terms of like his story and how it played out. Like kind of we got to see him do like almost like a full circle. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah.
Now he's just like he's living. Do you feel like he would ever come back, or do you feel like that door's kind of shut for him?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I think given the right circumstance, he would. Him and Alyssa, they just bought their first house together, so I think once he gets settled in and they feel good where they're at, maybe. But for right now, probably not anytime soon.
Yeah. And you mentioned Madison too. You guys got pretty close, actually, right? Like once
yeah, that was like my sister at one point.
Wow. You guys still close, or?
Not so much anymore. I mean, I talk to her every now and then. She lives in Austin, so I was just out there this weekend. So, and I saw she went to ACL the weekend before me, so I hit her up to see if she was going to be out there. But she only went one weekend, so I was hoping to see her and Harper out there. But so yeah, as far as that, we'll just send a little comment here and there, or shoot a text here and there.
Yeah, I want to ask you now, since a lot of people were curious about your opinion on this, kind of like the direction in which like they're casting now for the show, with like all these like kind of like I call it like random holes in the wall, with like kind of
Yeah.
how they're pulling people. Do you feel like it's a good idea with how they're pulling like from all these random networks and countries, or do you feel like it's not necessarily a good idea?
I don't think it's a bad idea. I love the UK people a lot. I think it's hilarious, especially the Essex people. It just cracked me up from every show I ever watched with them. But I think they just went a little too far with it, pulling just random stuff, just random people, and I think that could have been saved for like maybe like an All Stars or like a something different. They could have did something different with it instead of pulling them onto the challenge. So. But ever since Are You the One cast got casted on, I guess they just went with it and they went a little too far, honestly.
Yeah, how often do you keep up with the show? Like, do you follow through social media, or you just kind of tune it out?
No, I mean I keep up a little bit. I'm super busy right now, so I don't get to watch as much. But yeah, I definitely keep up. I follow a lot of them and see their stuff on social media.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you hopping on here today and taking the time to do this. It was good to hear you kind of speak candidly about some stuff that we've kind of let marinate for some time now. So maybe it was a little therapeutic for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for your time today. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
of
it.
course, Michael. I appreciate you.
All right, take care, man. I'll let you know when this is out.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Peace.